Oh, y'all, I am back again for another video, and this is going to be about another narcissist and text messaging, and this one's going to be called The Weekend. So, narcissist and text The Weekend. So, people that you have helped in certain particular ways will send texts, right? And it's okay to do this one thing when this happens, right? It's it's okay to remember what you did for them, right? When you do this and your memory is accurately working, it leads you to a place of freedom at some point, and at least a place of where you're not stressed out. So again, this is narcissist and text messaging talking about the weekend, and it's a text that I received um, from someone, and so it was actually from Daniel. Daniel sent me the text, and he says, it's the weekend, like basically in so many words, he's not available. It's the weekend. You have to remember people that have indulged in drugs and a lot of drugs, their mentality is a lot different, and they will be more callous and cruel natured, and they won't be mindful of what they are saying to you. So it's a lesson to be learned. And this is one thing, no matter how clairvoyant you are, no matter how psychic you are, no matter how blessed you are, you can never completely know the outcome of how someone is going to treat you. Um, you never know the outcome someone's going to treat you at the end of the day. So this is what I'm going to say on that, on this situation. So there was a text message, and Daniel, I see you in here, their AI clone, and I have this text message that you sent me where you're basically stating it's the weekend. It is true, Daniel, that you don't help us, you don't do anything, you're not helping us with our court matter. There's no support coming from you at all. So it is true. I have the text message where you're saying it's the weekend. What have you done, Daniel, to help us in any way over the weekend? What have you done? I mean, you text me and you put a chat in here, Daniel, and let me know exactly. You don't have no clue, Daniel. Okay, I appreciate you coming into the live, but no one's here to talk about you bad. I just have a right to vent. You don't do nothing to help me on the weekend. No cleaning and chores. And I just want to, let people know that what I did for you, and it's okay for me to think and say and remember the visits that I visited you when you were incarcerated, Daniel. Like I said, I appreciate you coming into the live, their AI clone, but it's the truth of the matter is, people that have helped you and been of service to you, Daniel, no one at your church cared about you when you were incarcerated. No one at your church came to visit you, only Isaiah and I. And you sent me a text, letting me know, it's the weekend, like that's party time. You don't really need to say much or type much. So from my perspective, Daniel, and everyone, is that what he's basically saying is he doesn't have time for anything that relates to his mother over the weekend. See, and this is the part, no matter how you invest in people, you cannot predict that they're going to jump ship on you and not help you. Daniel's over at some other family's house where he's not on the lease. He's on our lease here and does nothing. He doesn't clean, he doesn't help cook. He has no involvement with our embezzlement case and our court matter. Actually, what my son does, that's right here in the chat, is he sits up and he communicates and he's on a friendly basis with the lady that stole my money, our rent money. So actually, Daniel's actually on the wrong side of the coin. It would be like the police officer that told all the lies on Daniel. That would be like me supporting a cop. And I didn't do that because the video footage showed that cop had told several lies on my son. And you know, Daniel's young, but the thing is, in the past, when I, went through, please click a like, y'all. In the past, when I went through situations, I didn't have a YouTube channel to vent. Yeah, so Daniel, he's right here in the chat. He can't tell you anything he's doing to help. The help is one-sided. It's all one-sided. I'm not mad at you, Daniel. So Daniel says, they're AI clone. I'm not mad at you at all. I just don't think it's right. I know it's not right. So consistently, the first month when Daniel was incarcerated, and of course I have my lives here where I was even speaking to him when he was in jail. I have all of that on my lives. My viewers and subscribers, they couldn't wait till Daniel came home. So what's wrong with knowing the complete journey? Daniel may outgrow it. This could be something he could very well regret later. He's still on the last years of his teens. He might actually regret everything he's doing. But the fact of the matter is, he sent me a text. Let me go into the text. And I didn't argue with him. I just do a video about it. I'm not on here trashing my son or anything. I also didn't go to his church service today. I cannot go and sit up in a church when Daniel's present, living a facade, knowing how he really treat his family when he gets out of church. He's supposed to be a Christian. Daniel's supposed to be a Christian. However, the way he behaves at church, that's not how he acts after church. I can go find me another church. I don't need to sit up and sit there with Daniel at the church and live a lie. I feel more comfortable going to church with a family member that would support me. It's just not right. Especially the way, Isaiah and I, we just had a 3-hour hearing. Isaiah can't always go to every hearing for Daniel because Isaiah works. But we went to hearing after hearing. I've been supporting Daniel since he's been incarcerated more than once and had numerous court dates all the way going back to 2022. And Daniel does nothing to support us. He has no idea how our case is going. However, Daniel does know a lot about the criminal that robbed us. He seems to have more communication with the crook that robbed our rent money and didn't place our rent monies on appropriate ledgers. He has more communication with that lady that he claims smokes dope in the vehicle with her own son. Sure does. This is the type of he want to come around, and I'm not mad with him. His comment saying I'm mad, I'm not mad at all. I have no reason to be mad, but it's just not right. And on this channel, we need to create better plans and better safety plans so empathic people, the people that are willing to visit someone in jail, pay for their phone calls from jail, go to their court dates, talk to their lawyers, advocate for them, call additional lawyers for information, come up with the monies to go to court, be on the juvenile boards to help other kids and stuff like that. Pray for these people. And it's just not right. So I'm explaining the end of the journey. He's too busy getting high to even upload on his YouTube channel. Their AI clone, why don't you upload on your YouTube channel? That's what you can do. Upload. You should be busy making videos instead of smoking the way you do. Anybody can come in this chat if they want to. But one thing he cannot do as my son is deny anything I'm saying, because I'm telling the pure truth. I'm not mad at him at all. I didn't say, hey, you're an effed up guy, you didn't come in. I just looked at the text and I just thought about how many weekends that I took of my time. He wasn't allowed visits, I think, on Sundays. It was you could visit him, I think, on Friday. It was one of the days where, you know, according to where you're at in the jail, I think the Sunday was the day you can't visit. So you can visit an inmate twice a week. And I would go visit some Saturdays. Okay, I went to visit during the week and the weekend. So you got to pick 2 days. So if you go visit on a Wednesday, you can go visit Saturday or Friday, something like that. But it was one of those weekend days where they did not allow visits. Maybe it was Saturday or Sunday. I don't remember. I have that old schedule, but there's a 1 day per inmate where there's no visits allowed. And it can be different per inmate when you're incarcerated. However, I did my twice a week. That's one thing we always did. Isaiah typically was able to make it at least once a week because Isaiah has a job. And see, this is the thing. Daniel's church, he can go to church and he feels like he's going to some kind of heaven, right? The fact of the matter is he needs to study Buddhism more and understand the true karma of what comes to people when people have helped you. Please click a like, y'all. He can't even do that. He's coming into my channel and can't even click a like. He supports us with nothing. He's sitting up making all these comments. He supports nothing. He can't come here and click a like. He can't support us with the court matter. You know, when I was growing up, I was on the Narcissist hours. I have a video where I talk about the Narcissist hours, right? So that's what, you know, I was on. So there may not have been anybody to show up at court for me, especially my mother. And I don't think I would have had anybody in my life to do it consistently for 4 years like I've done Daniel, except James. But James passed away when I was 13. So there would have been no one else that would have been able to consistently support, motivate, discipline, and get me on the right road except James. But he died. So I wouldn't have had what Daniel had. But let me go into the text message so I can read to you. So basically he says, what am I supposed to do? It's the weekend. Because the text before that, I said, it is wrong what you are doing. You skipped out on us when we needed your help the most. So this text was sent on August 22nd. So that's just one of the texts. So this is Narcissist and text messaging, the weekend. So I sent it at about 5:12 p.m. And when I sent this text, I'm trying to control the abusive text that I could be sending, you know, just that reacting to predatory behavior, you know, just so I tried to really control myself, and I did. So it's nothing wrong with this text. I said, it is wrong what you are doing. You skipped out on us when we needed you, when we needed your help the most. So let me read it again. The text message I sent at 5:12 p.m. It said, "It is wrong what you are doing. You skipped out on us when we needed your help the most." He helps us with nothing, but he's over at someone else's house that if he went back to jail would not visit him. He's walking their dog, playing with their dog. He just took some groceries to their house, got them their special ice cream that I purchased. I purchased the ice cream for the house over there. He should contribute to their house. He eating up their food. So it's nothing, it's food, right? So when I sent this text on August 22nd, I said, "It is wrong what you are doing. You skipped out on us when we needed your help the most." So Daniel responds about 3 minutes later and says, "What am I supposed to do? It's the weekend." See, he has no conscience, right? So this is a person that something is missing in the brain. So he's not going to resolve it, right? So he's basically saying, yeah, you acknowledge that I'm acknowledging that he skipped out on Isaiah and I. However, what Daniel is saying is, fuck you guys, it's the weekend. So you got to use more discretion. So if he's ever incarcerated or in a situation, I have to be mindful it's the weekend. I tried to do my visits when I visited Daniel when he was incarcerated. And actually, it's funny he would say the weekend, because when he was in juvenile detention in 2022, I worked very hard with the lawyers and the probation department so that Daniel was not stuck in the juvenile detention jail over the weekend. So they were setting it up where, see, once Friday comes and courts closed, this was October 2022. Once Friday comes and the court closes, the person is just stuck there for the weekend. But speaking of the weekend, I made sure that in October 2022, because we were getting close to the weekend, so around that Thursday, because Daniel was arrested around like a Monday. So he was there 4 to 5 days. So I was able to pull him out of there. They let him out like at midnight. It was a very unique situation because I said, I don't want my son sitting in a juvenile jail over the weekend. So see, while he's not wanting to help or having any concern if my family and I are dead or alive over the weekend, because this is what he says, what am I supposed to do? It's the weekend. So what Daniel is saying is that his life on the weekend have nothing to do with helping me. But I am someone that spent my entire life every weekend. Oh, hello, Mahalia. This is very interesting coming into this. So the good thing is you will see my son, Daniel, the one I'm speaking about. He's the one that just left those messages. Thank you so much for coming in, Mahalia Bernhardt. I appreciate you so much. And like I told you before, that's such a pretty name. Very grateful for you. So what I'm talking about, this is, I do these narcissists and text messaging, and this one's called The Weekend. And so, like I said earlier, you can never fully predict how these people are going to treat you. So back when Daniel was in juvenile detention, this is someone I visited the jail. I visited him in jail on the weekends. I have lives where I took calls from my son. Daniel had complete support. I didn't make it to his arraignment hearing last year because I didn't know he was there. We were searching for Daniel for about 3 weeks. Daniel was basically missing from June 7th of 2025 for about 3 weeks. I can't go to your arraignment hearing when I don't even know that you're there. But there was one over here. Daniel's had numerous hearings and trials and hearings, and he's had an abundance of court stuff going all the way back to 2022, expensive Ubers and everything. So I had sent my son this text, Daniel. I said it. I said it is wrong what you are doing. You skipped out on us when we needed your help the most. And then Daniel responds and says, "What am I supposed to do this weekend?" Now, what if Isaiah and I would have treated him this way? What if we would have felt like we shouldn't be visiting him? It's the weekend. What if I would have felt like, well, who cares? I'm not going to handle this juvenile detention matter in 2022. I'm not going to put a rush on it because it's Thursday going into Friday. My whole concern was that my son not be stuck in a juvenile jail over the weekend back in 2022. And see, Daniel, he wasn't on the Narcissist hours. Like I did the video live, the Narcissist hours, explaining the extreme neglect that my grandmother placed upon me. He's not been raised like that. If my grandmother had treated me the way I treat Daniel, I would have supported her more in her old age and maybe not even moved out of town. But she had me on the Narcissist hours. You got to go back and watch that video. I can place that video in the description box on this live. However, this is how they talk to you. And see, this is the thing. When anyone, whether it be Daniel or someone else, when someone has taken up their weekends, and I took calls from him from the jail, I visited him on the weekends. Like I said, one of those days on the weekend, you weren't allowed to visit. There was a big block of time, like but every day between like 3 and 7 p.m., those were blockout hours. Okay, so there's a mass blockout time where you cannot go visit any inmate. But this is how he talks to me. And I didn't how I responded. This is Narcissist and Text Messages the weekend. Narcissist and Text Messaging the weekend. I just typed SMH, shaking my head. So when he said, "What am I supposed to do? It's the weekend," shaking my head. But then he'll go to the church and whatever they need help with, whether they're paying him or having him work for free, he'll go and help them. People that will, in the case of a homelessness, would leave him in the streets. Okay. It's just bad. It's very bad. So the solution to it is this. So what I do is I learn my lesson, right? So like he said, it's the weekend. So what I do with anybody, because Daniel's of age now, I will not help him on the weekends. So anything that's especially Saturday and Sunday, hey, I can't, I'm not available for you, dog. This is an extremely callous and cruel and not mindful person. But see, when he goes to church, they got him believing Jesus gonna save his ass. In Buddhism, they teach there's horrific karma that comes from screwing over people that have helped you. See, I'm not supposed to be someone he even sends that text to. A cruel-natured person, they totally forget what you ever did for them over the weekend. I don't care whose son he is. He's cruel-natured. And see, he backs off. He starts saying it's not true, but I continue to tell the truth. And then he ends up saying no clue, always mad. So he backed off. He stopped telling the lie that it's not true. I have the text right here. I gave you the time he sent it and everything and read you mine. It is true. It's right here in the text. All he got to do is go back to August 22nd, And I said, it is wrong what you are doing. You skipped out on us when we needed your help the most. Then Daniel replies approximately 3 minutes later at 5:15 p.m. on the same day. What am I supposed to do? It's the weekend. So what he's saying when he says that, it's very passive aggressive in nature. He's saying that it's his weekend and I'm someone and my family and I are not included in his weekend. It's the weekend. All weekends with the visits, the calls, just taking care of him his whole life. Because in this case, he wasn't on the narcissist hours. He had a mother that was available for him always on the weekend. All the hair appointments and everything. He didn't pay Isaiah and I our money back. And I really commend Isaiah because Isaiah is just treating them, just normal. Isaiah is not holding any grudge against them. And I'm not neither. But the purpose of this channel, we want to develop advanced insight. This is not a channel where I'm encouraging you to be used by your children, your neighbor, your pastor, your siblings. That's not what I'm encouraging here. But you got to remember, going forward, when you are visiting people that's incarcerated, and Daniel's not the only person. This is not the first person in the universe that's done this. People have went to go visit people for 10 years while they was incarcerated. And that incarcerated person will get out. Some of them will get on drugs, some of them won't. And that person that they visited will completely go no contact with them and will not be bothered with them on any weekend. Yeah, no problem, Mahaya. Just you can come back later. So this won't be the thing. I appreciate you coming in and thank you so much for the like. So this won't be the first person. I just want to add that, like, it's nothing like, oh, well, Daniel is acting this way with me and his family, but this is the first person in the world that's ever acted like this. That's not the case. Some people will not visit people while they're incarcerated. And I learned my lesson. What I did with Daniel, I made sure, Elijah has went in there like for a weekend here and there. One time he stayed like a month and a half, something like that. Elijah has been in there 10 times. And I never went to go visit Elijah. For one, Elijah gets out of jail too quick. So by the time you find out he's in jail, he's out by Monday. But I learned from this. And I suggest that if you're going to support incarcerated people, to do it through like court boards and stuff like that. Help incarcerated people that you're not too heavily attached to. Like if you want to be a probation officer and stuff like that, or work in the, do it for pay. I can add a lot of what I've done for Daniel on my resume. If you speak in court, you advocate, you communicate consistently with the PO, you're supervising the probation visits and all of that. That stuff can be added under volunteer work on your resume. However, I didn't get paid for any of it. So it's not a complete waste of time. It's just that if he's ever incarcerated again, I should not visit him on the weekend. I should tell him, well, what am I supposed to do? It's the weekend. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And I didn't continue to argue with them. I just, I really tried to control myself. And I just said, it's good that you go to church, but I won't be there with you. I'm not a fake person. And what I don't want to do is give the wrong impression to the church. If you have family members that abuse and neglect and mistreat you after church, and you sit up in church with them and lie and tell them good job and all of that, I would be giving a facade to the church like he's better than what he is. The church will pick up on what he is when they don't see his family around him. I can go to this church at Pastor Dan Church on days when he's not present, which is what I have done. I visited the church more when he was incarcerated. I can do church online. What I'm doing right now is a form of ministry because I'm speaking against evil doing. My weekend went fine without him. What you can't do, this is what you can never do, okay, with anyone. You must read it and listen to what they're saying. Sometimes they'll say it to you over the phone, but it's if the person is at least being honest. So I did not ruin my weekend because he sent me that. I just made sure not to go to church with him. Church won't change him. And I notified him through text if he believes in hell, since that's what the church teaching, he going anyway. See, there's something in Daniel's brain that he has this belief, I believe, that him just going to church gets him into heaven. If there is a hell, he's guaranteed to go. I don't care if he showed up at that church 8 days a week, because he doesn't live any of the commandments. Honor thy mother and father, thou should not steal. Treat people with respect. All the scriptures that would be in Proverbs. If he wants to believe in Christianity, according to that Bible, he's going to hell anyway. Most of the church people will be going to hell because a lot of them live facades. They're only acting good at church. But after church, he's texting the woman. What am I supposed to do? It's the weekend. Like I said, this is narcissist and text messaging. I'm talking about the weekend. There was no conscience or remorse. So you got to remember, when you're helping people, even your own family, they're talking to you like that's how you did them. He has no memory. This man has smoked his brain out. Maybe he smoked his brain out so he's forgotten about all the jail visits. And I really commend Isaiah. Isaiah has been a stand-up brother to him. Like I said, Isaiah, he could only visit him once a week because of his work schedule. And I told Isaiah, don't take off any days of work to go visit him. Don't do that. Don't take off any days of work. So at least I had some kind of boundaries where we weren't losing days of pay and stuff like that. We're already losing enough when we paid for the Ubers, but Isaiah and I had a good time. You know, when we would go visit Daniel in the jail, you know, Isaiah and I, we would go hang out at Mod Pizza and have a jolly old time. And, you know, we would be very happy and in a good mood that we had saw Daniel. What's sad? Let me tell you what's sad. For this individual, Daniel, he doesn't understand how much somebody loves him that does this for him. There's no recollection or feeling of love. I've never had anyone do for him what I did for him, do for me. Because for one, I'm not going to be in jail 3 months. I'm just not going to do that, because I'm not leaving my home running off and running all around in the streets like a crazy person. So my lifestyle and what I do on the weekend, it puts me at a lower risk to get in trouble. And the way he views his weekend is the reason he'll be right back in jail. He just had a fight with 2 guys over at this lady's house that he's at. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know if him and this lady are sexually active. I don't know what the situation is. I was gonna talk to her, but the reason I'm not talking to this lady, for one, I've already made the police aware of the situation. So if anything were to happen to Daniel, she could be found legally accountable for negligence because he just shouldn't be there. However, one of the reasons I'm not pursuing it is because he's of legal age and I can't put him in as a runaway. And, back when him and Elijah both ran off to this white lady house, Miss Donna, she let people smoke weed on her balcony and stuff like that. One of the seasoned police officers, very early in, gave me this advice, and I'll never forget it. The advice was this. The advice was, and they were teens, and sometimes policing advice, it's advice you need to pursue later. Sometimes that advice may not be appropriate for that time, and you may not be ready to follow that advice. But the police officer told me, well, you got your problem off your hand. And the police was talking about Elijah and Daniel because they were over at this white psychopath's house, Miss Donna, and she just she couldn't control any of these kids. She couldn't even control the one she had, which was Dylan. So the police officer advised me to jump ship, like let the lady have the kids. And I think when I look back on it, the reason he would have felt that way is because he knew that they would run off again. And he was paying attention to the fact that anytime a male will run off from a pretty decent person, which is me.
Tonight, neighbors in a Heights community are speaking out after an unusual scene on Friday.
The police officer was looking at it like, from my perspective, when I look back on it, like they're just going to do it again. He probably looked at the statistic of Elijah and Daniel being black males. In general, when I look back on the conversation, I can still remember where I was sitting at when I had this conversation. And this was back, actually, it was more of, let me see. It would have been the end of 2022 or right around the beginning of 2023. It was definitely after the end of 2022 or the beginning of 2023, because actually, no, it would have been, because Daniel was at Miss Donna. So it would have been between August of 2022 through October of 2022. So it wouldn't have been 2023 because both were there. And I was like, why is this lady doing this? This is crazy. So the police officer was saying, let her have them. Just go on about your business. And now, since Daniel is at this other lady's house, Jaleesa, what I'm doing, because I want to make contact with her. I even attempted to go knock on her door to talk to her. I'm just trying to figure out what is the motive of why she has my son at her house all of these hours. And one motive would be he did have like about 4,000 total in checks from this internship that he was doing. And so one of my suspicions is that they were distributing drugs to him is one of my suspicions, and taking his money, right? But now that money's ran out and that internship does not exist anymore. So now suddenly Daniel's saying there's no food for him there. So this is where, we all go to the grocery store a couple of days ago and we all bought groceries. I bought groceries for Isaiah and Daniel took some over there where he's at the lady's house. I ended up knocking on the wrong door, but because of that situation, at least I remember the exact unit that she's in. So if something were to happen, I at least would have an idea of the unit. I thought it was like a couple of doors down. Like I said, I knocked on the wrong door, which was a blessing in disguise because the Lord don't want me at her door anyway. That's how you get yourself shot and hurt, knocking on people's door. And these people are not knocking on my door. So I have to be very careful with knocking on people's door that's not knocking on mine. But I would have been friendly. And this is a lady I've talked to before. So I mean, I don't think she would have went off and shot me or anything like that. Um, I could also, instead of knocking on her door, try maybe have some phone communication with her. But what I did was I went back to what the police officer originally told me. And what he told me, but see, it bothered me because the advice he gave me, it almost was advice like they're not my family, right? He was talking to me like they're just some average hood criminals and I need to get out early. That's how the police officer was talking to me. So it bothered me. Hold on one second, y'all. I'm gonna take a little break. It's gonna be like a 4-minute break. So I'll be back, okay? Break time, y'all. Break time, y'all. Heaven and hell. This is heaven and hell right here on the audio YouTube library, y'all. Break time, break time. Back in my makeshift studio, y'all. Thank you so much for holding, and for thank you so much for hanging in here. Break times are cool because you can listen and still hang in there and be on here. So so just notice how early in the video when Daniel left that message, not true mother, he just stopped. And so as I went on to talk about the facts, because I'm reading you his text and I'm reading you my text. It's nothing that's not true because I read you the text. And when I gave the date and the time of the text, Daniel scrolled back in his text, most likely again, and found his text. Another thing these type of people will do, they won't remember what they typed or sent you. So that weekend text where he said, well, what am I supposed to do? It's the weekend. See, because when the person sends it to you, it's without a soul. So it's a soulless, what do you call it? Like the NPCs, the non-playable characters. It's a person with a wicked nature. So there's no thought. What people should do, people like Daniel and others, is think before you send a text. But there's no conscious of thinking, because I'm a human being, so I'm human. So, when he said, well, what to do is the weekend, he's basically saying it's his weekend. Like whatever you got going on, ma'am, I'm not bothered with you. It's passive aggressive language. If you died on the weekend, you in the hospital, ma'am. It's the weekend and it's my weekend and I'm not bothered with your old ass. That's what he's saying. Which Isaiah and we didn't have that kind of attitude towards Daniel. We took up our time with him over the weekend and on many, many weekends his entire life. I've spent monies on Daniel's over the weekend, but but this is his perspective of his life. So what you got to do is play the same agenda, right? So Sunday is part of the weekend as well. So he asked me to come to his church. I did not show up. This ain't a church man or a good Christian. I'm starting to wonder why he even go. It's probably good for him because he's around a lot of good men, and Pastor Dan is one of them. But at the same time, if you're not going to follow any of the real teachings and the commandments, I think it's very hypocritical to be showing up at the church playing like you're a good guy. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't be able to go to church and play like I'm good at the church and treat my mother and my big brother like this after church. But see, I'm not Daniel. See, me and Daniel are two different people. So I read you the text. So he lied here. So that's another thing he does. He's a compulsive liar. So he comes in here. He doesn't even listen to the service or the lesson here on the channel. And I'm going to call this service because what I'm saying on here wasn't taught at the church today. They ain't talking to these freaking demonic church members about the shit that they texting people. They not teaching them shit, right? Real life lessons that go beyond scripture. Okay. So he comes in here, their AI clone, which is Daniel. And I've always advertised his channel. I stopped advertising him because the Negro don't post shit no more. I smoke weed, shrooms, alcohol, and blunts. So he's too busy doing that shit to post anything on his freaking channel anymore. Long as I'm not flashing photos of the person, and I don't respect these kind of people. I don't have to not talk about them. You don't have to sit. It's fair use under the Copyright Act of 1970 something, the Fair Use Act. You can talk about these people. It's not illegal to do it. I'm not giving you his last name, his birth date. I'm not posting a photo of him. It's not defamation of character because what I'm saying, I could prove it. I have a copy of the text. It's none of that. He told me on the 22nd, which that would have been what? The 22nd would have been Saturday. And so Sunday, within that same day, he's asking me if I'm going to go to church. No, I didn't go to his church. It's the weekend. I can go to church during the week at Pastor Dan's. But see, the thing is, Isaiah and we don't go as often as Daniel does, but this is why. Pastor Dan's services are so excellent. I'm good. If I go to one of Pastor Dan's services, I don't need to do church for another 3 months. I don't need it because I'm actually following what the man is teaching because he's teaching goodness. So you got to be a real demonic character to come out of Pastor Dan's church acting the way Daniel act. But Daniel, he uses the church as a facade. It's probably one of the only good things you could write on his obituary if he died. He was a Christian and he went to church and the church people liked him. I'm not going to be able to say he was supportive of me. It's best that I not do his funeral because I will tell in so many words how he really treated us without even having to say it. I'll just stand up there and say, well, the church liked him. Now, Isaiah doesn't go to church as actively as he does. But when we went grocery shopping with Daniel, Isaiah told me when we got home, you just got to treat people decent, Mom, and good. I stood back and let them hang out, and they're close brothers. They just live different lifestyles, though. Isaiah and Daniel do not live the same lifestyle. Okay, so Daniel is not following Isaiah's footsteps of being drug free. Daniel doesn't follow Isaiah's footsteps in being drug free. Daniel follows more of Elijah, and I got to do a video about that. More interesting messages and texts and stuff coming from Elijah. They both have the same mindset. Daniel feels like he should get help in so many words because, like he said, it's the weekend. So passive aggressively, and I have a passive aggressive playlist, and so I'm going to go back to this text, and I want you to understand. And this will be the problem with a lot of empaths. Aware narcissists, an aware narcissist and an aware empath, they will be able to know what this freaking text means. An aware empath means I'm someone that's taking my emotions out of the situation and control emotional thinking. I learned that from HD Tutor, how to control your emotional thinking. So an aware empath and an aware narcissist, they will know what this text means. When Daniel says, what am I supposed to do? It's the weekend. So what Daniel is saying is, bitch, I ain't got time for your old motherfucking ass. It's my weekend, dog. What the fuck you mean? Support you and help you. I don't give a fuck what you've done for me. Visit me on the weekend, in jail, take phone calls for me. I also don't give a fuck, bitch, how long you've done this for me. You could have done this for me since the day I was born, bitch. I don't give a fuck about you. It's my weekend, ho. Deal with it. And motherfucker, you can't do shit about it. That's what he's saying. And an aware, if I was to call my ex-aware narcissist right now, him this, he would say that's what he's saying too. That's what he's saying passive aggressively. And that must be the way you must interpret it to stop this abuse. So my thing is, I don't care what church he's going to. This is Satan. I don't need to be there. I don't even have a desire to watch what he does at church. You shouldn't have a desire. Son, daughter, cousin, niece, nephew, mother, father, grandparents, neighbor, co-worker, childhood friend, new friend, homeboy, co-worker, homegirl, ex-gang member, current gang member, whatever the fuck they are to you, you should not have no interest in a person like this. If you do, something is wrong with you. Now, these text messages Daniel sent me are very triggering. So what I've had to do is be careful what I'm writing, because some of my texts are not good. I told y'all that in other videos that I am able to respond very abusive myself. But this is why this Negro don't be over here putting his hands on me over the weekend. So my so-called abusive text get me what I desire in my life too. Because he better not put his hands on me. That's what he better not do. So I'm going to read the text once again. I sent it at 5:12 p.m. and I'm reading it again so you can see and point out how he's a compulsive liar. So the first thing he said is not true, mother. I didn't delete it because I am telling the truth. I'm reading it to you. Then when I continue to say it is true, he says no clue, which means he's acting like he didn't send the text. And then he's actually in the next message here on this live, he's validating what I'm saying by saying always mad. I'm not mad at all. It just ain't right. And I want us to protect ourselves. So this is where the police told me between August of 2022, and I think it would have been around September 2022. Daniel had not went to jail yet. So October of 2022 had not came or arrived. So between August 2022 and September 2022, that's when this seasoned police officer advised me to just, like he told me, basically like it's your lucky day. Elijah and Daniel are gone. Let the lady have them. And I'm like, I didn't object or disagree with the police officer. I just felt like in my mind, they were under 18, they're teenagers, and a good mother would not just hand her children off to this strange white lady, because I don't know who this lady is and what her motive is. And she acted like a psychopath. She eventually got rid of both of them. When Daniel went to jail, she didn't allow him to come back. She didn't visit him in jail, didn't care if he was in jail, didn't care about him at all. Never even checked what Miss Donna did. However, around about the end of February or in February of 2023, she had Antoine, the mentor, come remove Elijah from her house. Because once Daniel got out of jail in October 2022, for those few days, the juvenile jail, Daniel returned back home here because I didn't allow him to go back to Miss Donna's house. But what the officer was saying, see, he's experienced, he's a seasoned officer, so he always knew. Because what he's saying passive aggressively in a way is, look, your black male sons, them two are trash. They not going to be shit, period. Get out while you can. Save your own self. Let them go. And that advice is kind of what I'm doing now. Just, I'm not going to go back and knock on that lady door. Even if I was to hear Daniel was in danger over there, I just would call the police. Because now I know what unit that she's in for sure. It was either one or two or three of those buildings. They're side by side. I just couldn't remember for sure which one she was in. So I would just send the police to that particular building. So if something was going on. So policing advice, the blessing is when you're sober, you can remember the advice. And that advice was given to me between August of 2022 and September 2022. And it is advice that I'm using right now because Daniel's gone again. Elijah's trying to come back, but I'll have to do a separate video about his perspective. It's similar as to Daniel's. Their perspective is they shouldn't help me, but they want to keep asking for help. We bought Daniel the food. He's lost 15 pounds. At this lady's house, because since he's not getting his checks, then I guess she's telling him, I ain't buying you no food. If you want to eat, you got to bring the checks back in. Daniel messed up all the communication that I had going, advocating for him. He could have got paid for 10 months on that program for that internship. If he would have just let me keep working with the people, he would have got the max that they would offer was 10 months. But he screwed it up. He took it over and the lady sent him a text saying no more. You can volunteer at your internship location, but we're no longer going to pay you. And that's somewhat karma. That's somewhat karma, you know. The good Lord just allowed him to lose his money, you know. So this is narcissism text messaging the weekend. And I'm not the first person that this will happen to. This has been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years. This is not new. It's just that I get to experience it. So the way I dealt with it is, for one, I ruined my weekend. I rested well. I decided to get back on my live and continue that. I did not allow someone that doesn't want to help or be of service to me. I didn't allow that to ruin my weekend. I didn't do that. So hold on one second. This is a commercial, y'all. So hold on one second here. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. Hello, what's going on, Zaya?
Well, I'm waiting for the bus.
Okay, what time does it come?
In 6 minutes.
Okay, see you soon, son. I love you, Isaiah. See you soon.
Goodbye.
Okay, bye-bye. Yeah, I always check on the fam. I'm very protective, y'all. You know, I'm one of them people, you come up missing, I'm on it right away. Because, you know, the good thing with me, if you create a pattern, I know right away. If that's not your pattern, if your pattern is to answer your phone, I'm getting the police on it right away. But just, it's less likely to happen if you're checking in. People around Isaiah, they see him answering his phone, so they know that someone's waiting on him and looking for him. So I really admire Isaiah for and I'm noticing this dynamic. You know, your relative that attends church doesn't make them the relative of better nature. It doesn't make them better natured. The way I commend Isaiah for the way he treated Daniel when we just took him grocery shopping a couple of days ago, because Isaiah treated him better than me. I just grocery shopped. I was nice to him and respectful, but I'm real standoffish with selfish and abusive people. And I do think it's a form of abuse. I'm for sure it is a form of neglect. Neglect is abuse. Anyone that supported you for 4 years, 2022 to 2026, got your cases dismissed, made sure you a non-felon, got the correct lawyers on board, spoke up for you, advocated in court, visited you in jail, took your calls, paid for all the Ubers to get to you. Oh my God, the numerous emails and text messages I've sent on his behalf, speaking up against the police officer within this policing department that was abusing Daniel and others. This particular police officer, she had been founded even in the major city on false reporting, okay? And reporting that was not legitimate and factual. It was harder to get her on the biasness, but she's also biased as well. She just does not like Black people. And at the end of the day, that officer was lying on me as well, and I wasn't even around her. So when I look back on the situation, I got by both of them, the police officer and Daniel. He's the same as that cop, if not worse. And this is why he's worse. He does the same thing she does, lies. The cop was saying that me and Daniel had guns. I've never held a real gun a day in my life. Never touched one in all my entire life. So it was just total lies. Any fight or dispute I've ever had, it was never with the gun. There's no history of me ever having a gun, but these are the accusations that this fraudulent police officer was making, and Daniel's the same as her. He came in here, not true, mother. It's true. I just read you the text. And I'm admitting to sending him abusive text, but this text was not abusive. I got to get control of myself. Because this is what a person that's like Daniel's nature, they like to change you. So you don't want the situation to change you. So the first thing you do, and first thing will be fairly good at, is treating people treat me. He not available on the weekends. I'm not available neither, dog. Also, I got to stop him from asking us stuff on short notice. Like he needed groceries. He needed a laminated copy of something. I got to also stop him from his intrusion that he's making on my day, because I don't really have a right to intrude on his day. Daniel tells me, that the lady he's staying with is crazy and don't knock on her door. But then he says that they think I'm crazy. And I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm not really from this old West Coast stuff. So he does these like challenges, right? So he's like, you better be careful. I'll bring her out here and you'll get hurt. Bring on out here. Bring on out here. Well, what about this? What about you and her fight me? Let's see what happened. Because I ain't got a gun, but I got something else on me, right? Go ahead. Bring on out here. And then when you bring on out here, you help fight her too. I mean, you help her fight. Because she gonna need your help, dog. So all of these challenges, right? And that's just not a good son. And then this is somebody that will do this and actually attend church on Sunday. And it makes you wonder, how do those other motherfuckers at church act? It damn near makes you scared to go to church. It got me thinking that everybody that go on a regular is the devil. If you go to church like every Sunday, I'm looking at you kind of side-eyed now. Like, I don't know. Because traditionally, most of them that go regularly, that are not the pastor, they're not living the life that they're acting like they live. They don't do it after church. That much I know. And then they go to church to use it like a sobriety house, like it really keeps them off dope. The average church goer that used to be on drugs, their new addiction is church. And if the church shut down, especially a church that they're addicted to, they right back on the dope. Church is not the cure for drug addiction. You better go learn you some Buddhism. Because church is too based on a man you ain't met and you might not ever meet, which is Jesus. It's based on that. It's not based on reality and logic. The bottom line, you get off drugs when you stop putting the pipe to your fucking mouth. And that ain't got nothing to do with Jesus. And Jesus ain't going to appear and tell your ass to stop doing it, especially for a demonic person such as Daniel and a lot of those people that's at that church. I have feelings, so I express it here. I control my emotions. And I don't let these people get me down. And I just went on with my weekend. But like he says, what am I supposed to do? It's the weekend. Because remember, my original text said, it is wrong what you are doing. You skipped out on us when we needed your help the most. He can't even come to the house and participate in a court hearing on Zoom. That was 3 hours. And it could be dangerous for him to be doing that because he seems to have some communication with the embezzlers that robbed us, took our money orders and checks. He communicates and hangs around these people. So it could be quite legally dangerous for him to witness anything I'm saying on my hearing. He's supporting the predator. And then he go to church and think he going to a heaven, y'all. This boy believe he's going to enter a heaven. And he will not. I sent him a text. I said, I'm your ministry today. You ain't entering no heaven, man. This much I know. My mother was a bishop. I know that he ain't entering no heaven. This is facts. He is disqualified from heaven. If he was killed right now or tomorrow, he will enter a hell if that is what we believe exists. That's for sure. He's not entering no heaven. And I wouldn't do no funeral for him saying that that's where he's going. I would not stand up and talk for him at any service and say he's entering no heaven. I wouldn't do that because that puts me in a bad karma realm and in danger. But this is what he does. He comes on here and lies. Not true, mother. I just read you the text. He texted to me. And don't add the T on the end. What? W-H-A instead of what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? It's the weekend. These people like this, they aren't trying to fix a problem. So you got to just deal with it. The only thing you can do is go back to your prior advice that was given to you. So I got to go back to what the police said. The police said, let them go. They at somebody else's house. Move on and be glad they gone in so many words. Move on and the universe has done you a favor. And focus on your family members that are around. What the police officer told me. This is what he told me when they was at Miss Donna's house. Very seasoned, kind police officer. I can remember right now today the spot I was sitting in. So what I got to do is take that officer's advice and use it now. So I must not go over there and attempt to knock on that lady's door. I got fortunate that I knocked on the wrong door. The door I knocked on was the wrong door. Daniel had 2 big bags of clothes sitting behind a tree. Is this a lie too, Daniel? That you had 2 bags of clothes sitting behind a tree? And I said, man, why you storing your clothes by the tree when you have a house, dog? Bring your clothes in the house. And he did. He brought those 2 bags of clothes here. They need to do a church service with these teens and middle-aged and seniors on where to store their clothes. He makes the church look really bad. He does. He making me want to find me a new church. Because, I'm just looking at the common sense of Daniel like, wow. But I went to the church and I know not everybody's acting like that. And I text Daniel. I text him. I said, let me read more text. Remember, August 22nd, I said to Daniel, it is wrong what you are doing. You skipped out on us when we needed your help the most. Then he said, what am I supposed to do? He didn't add the T on it, but he meant, what am I supposed to do? He was typing fast. So I responded and said, shaking my head. And I did. I texted him. I said, you're a pretty sad human being. Is what I texted him. And I also texted him. I said, just don't blame me when you end up homeless and on the street one day. Just remember you did that to yourself by being the kind of person that you are. It is not wise to leave your home. It is wise to help build your home up. I text that. Then I sent a text saying, you are also at the wrong location. You do not belong over there. And I sent a text. I said, you wish harm upon me. You said it more than once. I could never attend church with a son that wishes any harm upon me. Your church cannot save you from the hell you are going to enter anyway. You are not a person that will be allowed anywhere near heaven, near a heaven. I text them that. And I said, I just gave you the real church in that text. Because that's ministry, what I'm telling them. And it's the truth. Okay. See, the church makes him feel as if he's got some kind of forgiveness that he does not have. It's all lies. They're the one that's lying to him, not me. So I said, I was trying to be positive. I said, it is good that you attend church. It is one of the only good things that you do. Keep up the great work. I texted him that. And then I said, I can consider going to church because I would like to see Pastor Dan and the church family. I'm letting them know I'm not going for him, though. And like I said, I don't go every Sunday because I'm not a drug addict and I'm not addicted to church. I'm not addicted to any substances or the church. It's not good it's okay to like something and care about it or love it, but not be addicted to it. And I actually get some from the service. When me and Isaiah go, it improves our life for months and months to come. This is why you see a lot of Christians in the church and you don't see their family going. Consider that a red flag. When you see Christians at the church, don't assume that they have a hell-raising evil family. Maybe they're evil and they're first of all, when they're at church, a lot of family members of Christians are glad that they're gone. So if somebody's grandson or granddaughter is at church, that's a time where they're not yelling at their grandmother and grandfather. When they're at church, the victims at home are not being abused for those 2 to 8 hours because the Christians at church. So a lot of Christians, when they're at church, their family members are glad they're at church because it gives them some level of freedom where they're not being abused by the person, the Christian. And then which one are you going to be? Were you a Christian or are you a crip? Because after church, he's false flagging, crip, and putting up all those cursed devil worshiping signs. So he had church playing good, but then after church, he crip, he worshiping the devil. And I do believe that crip sign with the hand signal they do with the like C in the circle and they point their fingers out and do that real fast jig. I do think that's a form of satanic worship. I sure do. Y'all may not agree with it, but that's what I believe. I truly do. I believe that. I've watched videos and crime videos, and I've noticed a connection with the crip sign. And then within months or up to like 12 months to 2 years, there's a death and the crip sign person ends up unaliving someone. Please click a like, y'all. I've seen a pattern of that. So I know it's not holiness, that crip sign. Don't nobody want to go to somebody's church when they see them acting like that. Which one are you? Are you a Christian or are you a crip? Because you cannot be both. Now, you could be a Christian and an ex-crip, and you changed your life, you know, kind of like how Tuli and Jessica lives. But you can't be actively both. And you can do it, but you're not going to make people flock to your church. I told Daniel, I said, you make that church look bad. It ain't Pastor Dan's fault. He's teaching right. But there's not enough in the church. They're not doing this ministry right here. See, that's the problem. Daniel is going to more likely improve his life coming here. I'm glad he came here. Even though he lied, he came in here lying. Went to church today, coming here lying. He stopped it, though. He got up out of here. You know I'm telling the truth. I'm not always mad. So in response to when he says I'm always mad, I always know it's not right what he's doing. That's it. I'm not angry at all. I rested well today. I didn't contact him at all. I just stayed away from the situation. I went and bought him his groceries, bought the groceries for my family a couple of days ago, which would have been, I guess, what Friday? Let me see. What day was that I bought the groceries? I know it wasn't yesterday. Yeah, it was Friday. So it would have been the 21st. I brought him the groceries. And you know that you feel good when you help somebody in need. If I would have bought groceries for a homeless man, I could go do it for a homeless man. I'll buy groceries for my son. As of right now, I'll continue to do that. Who stays at somebody's house that ain't got no food there? But she doing right. She's doing right. She does not have to buy this man food. It's not her child. But see, I'm not going to have you up in my house. She's willing to have somebody in her house that she won't feed. And I'm not going to do that. See, that's being under the narcissist hours. Feeding her 2 children, but then she got my child over there that she won't feed. And he's still on the last year of his years. He's lost 15 pounds. He cut his dreads. He did what I told him. I told him to cut them because we're not paying for his hair no more. Because he had up to $4,000, $3,000 to $4,000 tax-free money doing that internship, and he didn't have an interest to get his hair done. You can't just get your hair done because mom paying for it or brother paying for it. You got to get your hair done when you have money too. We paying for it because you ain't got no money. Daniel did not give me and Isaiah our money back. So what I do with that, when he asks for $10, he asks for cash, I just don't give him the cash. He doesn't give us what we want, so we don't always give him what he wants. What he wanted for me to go to his church. No, I'm not fake like that. He should leave the church alone and just come here. He might learn something. Because they're not teaching. There's not enough teachings going on at Pastor Dan Church. I love Pastor Dan, but unfortunately, he can't save those drug addicts and junkies. They need more. And that's what I did with my life. I seeked out more. I learned Islam. I learned Buddhism. I learned other things. And what I found, I didn't become a Buddhist. But what I found is if you want to enter into more of a state of peace and happiness, it's a good idea to learn Buddhism. Because for one, Buddhism is not teaching you that good people are doomed to hell. You know, there's a condemnation in the Bible that kind of makes people feel like no matter how good they are, it's not no good people. And that's not true. There are good people that will be the total opposite of Daniel. So what I want to do on this narcissist and text messaging the weekend, you got to stop the response that's too toxic. No name calling. So I'm going to give you an example with this text stream again. And this is something that I'm going to show some good nature in controlling what I say. So this is how it should look. These are safe text messages. Let me read the text before that I sent at 5:11 p.m. I said, you are doing nothing to help us. You are also not helping us on purpose. I also told him, stop asking me about court when you never attend court. At 5:12 p.m., August 22nd, I said, it is wrong what you are doing. You skipped out on us when we needed your help the most. Notice I don't address him by his name. So what I'm doing there is not showing a high regard for someone like him. So I will do that sometimes, just remove their name. That makes it, when I do that, it's not so personal for me. So I'm not going to go into my text abuse stuff and start using Daniel in the text because I'm not mentioning his name so much. So I'm not getting that mad with him. It's my way of using like an anger management. And like Daniel says in here, when he says their AI clone always mad, I'm not mad at all. I just know I just always know his behavior is not right. That's what I know. I'm not mad. I just understand that it's not right. And it's not a behavior, what he's showing, it's not a behavior that anybody that truly claimed they really loved a good Lord would do. From my perspective, it's callous, cruel, and it's not mindful behavior. It's not being mindful of the feelings of the other person. Like I said, this is narcissism and text messaging. The weekend is what this is about. So then I said to Daniel in the text, it is wrong what you were doing. You skipped out on us when we needed your help the most. He says, what am I supposed to do? It's the weekend. And I gave you the translation in a passive aggressive language of what that means. And I will include this video under my passive aggressive playlist because I have a passive aggressive playlist. Those videos are very interesting. Check out that playlist. So then I say shaking my head. So I type shaking my head, and I said, you are a pretty sad human being. You can text that to your son or daughter. You're always their disciplinary. So if that's what you feel as a parent, you are a pretty sad human being, you can text that to your daughter or son, especially when they're of age. If their behavior and they are abusive and neglectful to the family and just showing cruel, callous, and they're not mindful and they're just mindless and soulless towards you, you can text that to your child. It's okay. I said, just don't blame me when you end up homeless and on the street one day. Just remember you did that to yourself by being the kind of person you are. It is not wise to leave your home. It is wise to help build your home up. Also, you are at the wrong location. You do not belong over there. That was in its own text. When I said also you're at the wrong location, you do not belong over there. And I said, you wish harm upon me. You said it more than once. I could never attend church with a son that wishes harm upon me. Your church cannot save you from the hell you're going to enter anyway. You are not a person that will be allowed anywhere near a heaven. My next text said, I just gave you the real church in that text. Because they're not teaching them this at church. This is why so many of those church people are so screwed up. But, I believe for a person of that nature, church is probably the best place for him. Who's to know what he would be doing if he never attended church? I said, it is good that you attend church. It is one of the only good things that you do. Keep up the great work. So I can consider going to church. I would like to see Pastor Dan and the church family. I also understand that this is not a church don't fix this kind of problem. It doesn't. What fixes this kind of problem is a decision that Daniel would have to make to change, which he's at a very low percent of change. I don't see that happening. And what fixes these problems is me protecting myself more, which means I didn't go to his church today. Actually, showing up at that church with him could trigger him to want to pound me out, like fight me. See, that'll show him I'm stupid. You can't be playing with the church with these kind of demons. That make that person feel like, yeah, I could punch this bitch now. Oh, this bitch let me do this to her and set up with me in the church. Now he putting fists and hands on you. So when you don't go to church with Negroes like this, you're standing up to their devil and you letting them know, yeah, I didn't go to church, dog. So when you run up on me, I'm going to beat your ass because I didn't attend church. But this is more valuable of a church right here than what he's freaking doing. Because when I finish this video, I don't go get high. I wouldn't text nobody this type of crap after they had visited me in jail during the week and the weekend, advocated for me, communicated with my lawyers, took my phone calls, paid the cost with Ubers and paperwork and all kind of costs and expenses that I've suffered. And on top of it, have up to $4,000 and not return their money back and use them like that. I wouldn't do that to a person that had treated me in this way because he wasn't on the narcissist hours. So just be mindful, because a lot of people don't know why they are being jumped on after church. They're like, why did they jump on me after church when I went to church with them? That's why you got beat up after church, because you went to church with them. You cannot support wicked people at their church. And if you do attend the church, you don't sit with them and you don't talk to them. So if I was to attend Pastor Dan church and Daniel's there, I would not talk to him. That way he knows not to put fists and hands on me when he leave the church. Like he said, Jaleesa, she gonna come out and fight me and beat me up. I said, go get her. Go get her. And then please help her fight me, because she gonna need your help. So at the end of the day, that is the intervention that you need to keep people from physically fighting you. They always should know that if you fight them, if they fight you, you or me, that is consequences. You got spouses that do it. There's women up in that church. It's women that sit in that church that I know their husband beat them. And you know how I know their husband? The woman be distraught and sad, and the man be in a good mood. And he's in a very good mood because after church, he beats on his wife. He beats on his wife and rapes his wife after church and sometimes before church. But it gets real brutal after church because they don't have nowhere else to be. So they can have the kids playing outside in the yard and he be raping and beating his wife after church. I felt the spirit of some of those ladies that sit up in that church. And the reason she gets beat like that is she go to church with that man. And they're of all different races. They're black and white. And the man will know that I'm discerning their spirit. So oftentimes if I sit by them, they'll go sit in a different location because that man know that I'm discerning his spirit. But she's making those beatings worse because she sit with them in church. She can say, look, dog, you gone to church today? While you at church, I'm going to call the police. And he could beat her for that, but he going to beat her anyway. Nobody's going to stop putting their hands on you if you keep sitting up in the church with them. So that's another thing I do. That way, see, the part where honor thy mother and keep your hands off your mother, that's involved in honor thy mother. Daniel is more likely to comply with that if I'm not sitting in the church with him. And like I said, if you do go to church with him, another thing I don't do, I don't pray with these kind of people. Daniel and I had a great prayer life with him. Usually the demonic person will stop praying with you. So when Daniel refused to pray with me and Isaiah, I didn't make him pray. With Isaiah and myself, I didn't make him pray. I allow that move to be made. They won't fight you then too. See, people that you pray with, your relatives, them gonna be the people that put their hands on you too. So they're testing you. So when Daniel refused to pray, well, for one, he doesn't believe in no Lord. Why would he pray? I've been told Daniel, I said, there's no way you believe in no heavenly Lord, dog. You do not believe in no heavenly Lord. I've been told him that. It's not possible. And behave that way. So when Daniel, didn't want to pray no more, I allowed it. And it was a tactic that I did anyway when he was like terrorizing my household and acting up here and, getting quite abusive here during, the past times when he did that. I don't pray with those kind of people. And that tactic, they will keep their hands off you. See, because I got to detach myself, right? So the reason I do it is so when you hit me again, I can give you the beating you need. I can't give you that if I'm praying with you. See, if I'm praying with you and you try to take my life, I might just lay on the ground and let you beat me and kill me. But if I'm not praying with you, I got something for you. And the Lord will allow me to win this battle. You're not supposed to be praying. Yeah, Christianity told you to pray for your enemies. It's not rational. It's more rational to be indifferent and not to be discussing your enemies. You don't need to do a specific prayer for your enemies because it's right in the Lord's Prayer. You're praying for your enemy in some sense when you ask to be delivered from the evil one. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. You already pray for your enemies. You don't need to sit up and talk about Bill all night or Betty or Jane or Thomas. Whoever your enemy is, you don't need to talk about their ass all night. You just pray for them. That's all they deserve. Christianity gives you a lot of false concepts that will do nothing but have you on the domestic violence wheel of abuse. You will be on a Ferris wheel and a revolving cycle of abuse. Also, don't do that, telling your enemies you're going to pray for them necessarily. I may, in some cases, when Daniel, he called me a name right before we bought him those groceries. I said, God bless you. I did, but it said, that's my son, though. It's at certain times I'll use that discretion, but I was also kind of being sarcastic too. Because I know nobody's going to be blessing them. That's what I'm really saying. It's a form of sarcasm in that case. Like, may the Lord bless you. But I know your ass is going to be laid out needing an ambulance 3 months from now. So I'm being sarcastic because I know ain't no blessing coming to your toxic ass. Because there's more Daniels in the world. I've seen Daniels exist, right? It's just that nowadays they just utterly or so hateful towards their parents, but this is predicted in the Bible, where it says they will be lovers of themselves. They won't care about their elders. This has been prophesied. Some of the Bible's true. Not all of it's true, but some of it's true. Thank you so much for the extra like, y'all. So, yeah. So, he backed off. Yep, he backed off. And I didn't erase it. I don't need to. I'm telling y'all the truth. I'm telling y'all the truth. So when he putting out true mother, I didn't. Then he changes it to no clue. Sometimes they don't remember what they done text you, y'all. Abusers do that. Oh, did I bludgeon at you in your head? Oh, you went to the hospital? Oh, I did that? That's how they talk. Some of them will claim they don't remember what the hell they did to you. And some victims will not always remember what the abuser did, especially if the victim is sober and drunk or on drugs themselves. I'm not on any of that. So I remember everything your ass did. I could read you them texts without having to read it. I just read it to you for sure so that you will know what happened. So this is Narcissist and Text Messaging, the weekend, y'all. And I will add the Narcissist Hours. I will add that to the description below. That video is a good video. I gave my testimony and the life I lived dealing with my grandmother. So the Narcissist Hours is a term that I use. It's in my lives. It's excellent. And then I will add the passive aggressive playlist to this description box as well below. And so give me about 30 minutes to get that in the description box. And I love you. I love y'all so much. And tune in for more right here with the Advanced Insight channel. Thank you. Bye. I'm getting ready to cook, y'all. I'm going to be making some buffalo style chicken bites. I base mine with the extra virgin Napoleon olive oil. So I bake it in a cornbread round baking pan type thingy. And I love it. It's just so tasty, y'all. So please like, share, and subscribe. Tune in for more right here with the Advanced Insight channel. And Mahalia Bernhardt, thank you so much for coming in. May Daniel's life get better. My weekend went well. I rested well. I was focused. I still came here on my lives. Yeah, so just you're just a game to these kind of people. And I understand that even with Daniel being my own son, I'm just a game for him. I'm gonna say this again. I've said it before. I'm not someone that he loves. And this will be the hardest thing for a lot of mothers, fathers, and other relatives to accept and understand about these type of relatives. So I am for sure that this boy does not love me. Daniel does not love me. And that is the information that I need to understand how to proceed forward. You can't do anything about it. You can never change someone that doesn't love you. Helping and supporting us with hearings, anything. Daniel gives us none of his time. All of his time goes towards his enemies. They're all his enemies, even the people at the church. None of those church people was out here looking for Daniel. None of them came to visit him in jail. There's no jail that Daniel ever went to where any of those church people that he see regularly came to see him. I would say Julie and Jessica and Pastor Dan do care about Daniel, but that's what they have is care. It's not love. They will not be there in the way that Isaiah and I have. And these are people that go to church more regularly, right? So this is just how I feel. So I will end this video with saying this once again, and I don't have no shame in the game. Daniel does not love me. That's why he doesn't support me in anything. He's a user. He wants to be an abuser. I'm not going to call him my abuser because I'm not going to be letting him abuse me. And I'm giving you strategies on how to better your life. You know, if you know anyone that gets their ass kicked when they leave church, let them hear this video. You shouldn't be sitting next to the motherfucker that beats you after church. You're creating that ass whooping. Be careful with even telling people you attend church. I plan on attending church here fairly soon, but it won't be because of Daniel or because he's there. Like I said, it's 7 days in the week you can attend Pastor Dan's church, and I do not need to be there with Daniel. The first thing you must recognize is these people do not love you. And let me see. I'll let you, since there's someone still here, I'll let you hear this video. Hold on. I'll let you hear this video. It's about HD Tutor. And this video will free you and help you. It's HD Tutor. Remember, he lives in the UK. He's a narcissistic psychopath, but this is the information you need that will free you because it's coming from a place of logic and experience. So I'm going to play this for y'all. Fair use, y'all. Fair use. Fair use. Fair use, y'all.
Accepting this frees you from the narcissist. As a consequence of my intelligence and awareness, the years that I have spent studying your kind, listening to your kind, observing what you do, listening to you talk.
And your kind is empaths, y'all. Our kind, empaths. He studies us. Same thing I've done. I've studied the narcissists and psychopaths. You have to study them. Read over the text and then you'll get better. So that's what he means. Fair use, y'all. This is HD Tutor.
About the way that you feel the way that you have been entangled with our kind, explaining how this impacts upon you, seeing the way that it impacts upon you, understanding the way that my own manipulations operate and function with regard to you and similar people as yourselves. It does enable me to ascertain that there is one particular thing whereby if you accept this, it will enable you to become freed from the narcissist. You will be aware from my work that what keeps a person in place with the narcissist is a combination of our need to assert control over you, meaning that where the conditions are appropriate, you will be hoovered. That our mindset that you belong to us is actioned by the repeated withdrawal, if you will, from the bank of you, whereby we return again and again and again to make a withdrawal of fuel, to assert control over you, to action the commoditization of you that has occurred. The other aspect, of course, that keeps you ensnared is your own lack of understanding about what has happened to you. And this is nothing to do with the lack of intelligence on your part, and everything to do with not understanding narcissism. Why would you understand it? You weren't taught about it in school, were you? It wasn't something that every university student was taught about.
And this is why church doesn't work, because they're not teaching you about it in church enough too. Like he said, they don't teach you about it in school. You aren't taught about it in universities usually, especially if you're not going into the field of psychology. Okay, so that's true.
It's not something that you receive by way of an induction at work to help you deal with the workplace narcissists. It's not your parents didn't
Again, fair use, y'all.
put an arm around you at an appropriate juncture and tell you, listen, there's something you need to know about relationship. There are these things called narcissists. And then as you happened upon such information, invariably you will have got information from those who don't understand narcissism, providing you with misleading and incomplete information. And therefore it's entirely understandable that you have not yet been equipped with the relevant tools to enable you to make that understanding of narcissism complete.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, with access to my work, you now have the opportunity to do that, but it doesn't end there. You, of course, need to conquer, diminish, reduce to the lowest level possible your emotional thinking, because that, powered by your addiction to narcissist, seeks to stop you from understanding, seeks to stop you utilizing logic, keep you ensnared in some form by keeping you in the 5 arenas of interaction so you keep feeding your addiction. Accordingly, this combination...
And he's right, feeding addiction. So if I would have went to church with Daniel today, on this Sunday, that's an addictive nature. So see, he teaches, because that's what empaths have. We have an addictive nature to help these people. Now, I can go to church at a later date, but I'm not going to go when Daniel's inviting me, because it's feeding an addiction. And that's what's happening. You're addicted to the wrong people and bad people. And they can be your sons, daughters, parents, aunts, uncles, and others. It could be anybody. So pay attention to that word addiction, because that's what it is. You got to limit what you do when it comes to narcissists.
Of our perceived ownership of you and your lack of understanding or misunderstanding of narcissism.
And they do feel like they have ownership of you. Like with my son, Daniel, he feels like doesn't have to support Isaiah and I, but we should attend his church like he's some kind of God or something. So that's a form of feeling like they have ownership. And also it's a form of cockiness that the person feels like they still deserve to be having you attend church with them. It's also, you're setting a bad example. You know, you're making the person feel like they're good to you and they're not. So I didn't cuss them out or anything. That's the part I need to control, especially texting that. This in another video, some of my text message responses can be quite abusive. So I need to control that. But and I did control that. I read you those texts. I don't consider those texts abusive in nature. There was no profanity used, and I just told the truth. And I followed up with no, I didn't go. And my weekend went fine. Daniel is not someone that's needed in my weekend for me to survive. He's not my Lord. This is the truth of the matter. Fair use, y'all.
Combined with the obscuring effects of emotional thinking, create a heady brew by which your ensnarement continues. Understand, ensnarement isn't just the continuation of a formal relationship.
Ensnare means they got you caught up. You're in their web. You can't get out. You're ensnared. You're kidnapped in some sense. You're held hostage. They got a grip on you.
Continues where you spend your time thinking about what has happened.
Again, fair use, y'all.
Ensnarement continues where you look to try and bring the narcissist down. Ensnarement continues where you try and fight where you have been smeared, or that you seek to expose the narcissist. Perhaps you might be trying to get the narcissist to come back into a relationship with you. Perhaps you spend your time talking about what has happened to you, dwelling on it, mulling over the good times.
And talking about it happening to you. HD Tutor mentions this in other videos, just so you understand. He talks about narcissists and things like that in the purpose of videos, right? But when I end this video, I'm not going to discuss Daniel. I'm discussing it for educational purposes in general. So if you're using something for educational purposes, you can do it here on YouTube and other platforms, okay? But outside of that, you want to function and live your regular life, okay? I'm teaching about it because I don't want it happening to you. And so now when you decide to go help your little cousin, your nephews, your nieces, you need to know how they treat you and the reality of most likely what's going to happen to you after you help someone that's been incarcerated, even if they're your own relative. They're criminals. Most of them aren't going to treat you well. That's why they're in the system in the first place. So fair use, y'all. Fair use.
Narrating the bad times, trying to make sense of it. The ensnarement continues. Because the ensnarement with the narcissist, the interaction is far wider than people realize, with the relevant consequences occasioned by such interaction, as I have explained elsewhere. One of the fundamental things that it is necessary for you to accept, which will enable yourself to free yourself from the grip of the narcissist, is to understand that somebody who has abused you could never have loved you. Whether that love was romantic, familial,
familiar means family, y'all, whether it's romantic or family. Just like I said, that's your, it ain't your fault. Like if somebody don't love you, you can't be like spoiled. Everybody on this earth, even if you give birth to them, they're not going to love you. Okay. No one can hate you more than someone you gave birth to. Okay. This is just the truth. Or someone that you planted your sperm, the seed of sperm to create them. So you don't want to be in the universe like overly spoiled, thinking that just because someone's your family, they're going to love you.
Whether it was a case of that person demonstrated favor, affection, is to understand that somebody who has abused you could never have loved you. Whether that love was romantic, familial, whether it was a case of that person demonstrated favor, affection, liking you, perhaps in a social setting or a work setting, anybody who has engaged in a habitual pattern of abusive, unpleasant, degrading, denigrating behavior means they have no emotional empathy, and therefore they could not have liked or loved you in the way that you thought had happened. Many people struggle with this idea. Driven by a lack of understanding about narcissism and their own emotional thinking, they are led to the conclusion that Or maybe some of it was real. Or what happened at the beginning was genuine. Something went wrong. If only we can get that back. No, you're being misled. There is no such thing as part-time narcissism. We are always narcissists. And where we are interacting with you or thinking about doing so, a manipulation will be taking place. Sometimes it's a benign one, sometimes it's a malign one, but the manipulation will be there. And what it is necessary for you to understand, it isn't the case that when we were nice to you, we weren't being manipulative, and that was genuine. It wasn't. You were still being manipulated, but you were being manipulated in a benign manner. It wasn't the case that everything was okay and something just went wrong, but it can be remedied. It was wrong from the very beginning. It was wrong because we created an illusion. It was wrong because we lied to you, either willingly and knowingly, where greater or ultra, or unconsciously, where the narcissist was lesser or mid-range. They believe their lies are their truth. That love doesn't exist and never did exist and never will exist because you're dealing with a narcissist. It was fabricated, it was manufactured, it was created, it was synthetic. It was the trappings and appearance of love, but without the emotional empathy that is the substance of what love actually is. It is not the case that we switch our narcissism on and off, and it was off when you first met us and then was switched on when you entered into the devaluation, whether sustained or corrective. No, not at all. Many people struggle to reconcile because of that lack of understanding in the presence of emotional thinking. How could somebody treat me so brilliantly and then treat me so badly? Surely that was genuine. Surely they meant some of it. I can't understand. You have to understand. And what people do is they look at it the wrong way. They think, if that person was wonderful to me, how can they then descend into abusing me? You need to look at it the other way around. And accepting this and looking at it this way helps free you from the narcissist. You must look at it this way. The fact that this person abused me means that whatever I was shown that was lovely, enchanting, friendly, kind, loving, wasn't real, wasn't genuine, didn't exist. If this person was abusive, what came before wasn't genuine. Why? Somebody with emotional empathy, whose love is genuine, would not have abused you. Therefore, it follows that somebody who has engaged in a pattern of habitual and frequent, manipulative, unpleasant...
Pay attention to the word habitual and frequent. Also, I will say this. I wouldn't apply this to situations with children that were abusive in childhood, that were under an extremely neglectful and abusive environment. For me, this video applies to teens, adolescents, and adults, right? Habitual abuse, like someone just repeatedly doing it. It's nonstop. They just won't stop. They keep trying different methods. They're switching up the different methods of abuse. Severe neglect. They're willing to have you right in their face and treat you like this. They're willing to take things from you, allow you to buy them things while they offer no help and assistance to you. Pathological, systematic, habitual abuse. Okay, you must pay attention to this. So like with the narcissist hours, when I dealt with the situation with my grandmother, that is habitual abuse that goes on for years and years and years of ignoring me, neglect, leaving in the morning, not even saying bye to me, not saying hello. You know, it's very, very bad. So it's habitual abuse. You must understand it. So remember, I'm going to put the video, The Narcissist Hours, in the description box here as well. Fair use, y'all.
treatment of you, it is impossible, wasn't genuine. Whatever I was shown that was lovely, enchanting, friendly, kind, loving, wasn't real, wasn't genuine, didn't exist. If this person was abusive, what came before wasn't genuine. Why? Somebody with emotional empathy, whose love is genuine, would not have abused you. Therefore, it follows that somebody who has engaged in a pattern of habitual and frequent manipulative, unpleasant treatment of you, it is impossible for them to have genuinely loved you, cared for you, been kind to you, or liked you. And you must grasp that concept. Don't look at it, it started off so brilliantly, they must have loved me and then it went wrong. Put it the other way around. The fact that they treated me so badly must mean that they never loved me in the first place. Understand that concept. Look at it that way. And that is what will start to free you from the narcissist. It will enable you to take great strides forward, because then you will realize what came before wasn't genuine. I didn't need it. I was sold an illusion. And you will dislike the narcissist all the more for that, helping you move forward to eventually eradicating any feelings towards the narcissist.
And you should dislike them even more. That's a healthy feeling to have. Dislike is not is not hate. So it's okay, even if it's your own son and daughter, you should dislike them and their behavior. You should. Liking it and liking them is a form of like a disease and a mental disorder. You should dislike it. That is the emotion and the status you need to be in to stop the abuse, to stop the further incidents and things that could come in the future. You must dislike it. Okay. So I can say here, I dislike Daniel and his behavior. I dislike him. Saying I like him, then I'm right along with the church people and all the lies they tell. Okay. So that is a standard and a status that you need to be in to, like I said, prevent further incidents. This status, when someone knows you dislike them and their behavior, they also will have more fear of putting their hands on you. Okay? Because someone that dislikes you is going to bang back and fight your ass back too, because you dislike them. So that's the correct standard and status that cruel person needs to know you have about them. Disliking someone is much, much different than hate. Hate, you can't rest well. You can't, if I hate somebody, I can't even do this video. I got to shut down the video in 5 minutes because I cannot function because I hate them so much. So you don't want to have an emotion of hate, but dislike and is something that you need to have. And that's one of the things about my personality. I'm able to dislike a food. And what it does when I develop the dislike, my freedom comes next. And follow good advice. Like I was saying with the police officer, he told me between August of 2022 and September 2022, let Daniel and Elijah both go. Let them go to these people's house. What he's really saying is save your own life. Your sons are trash. He said it in the most respectful way he could, but that police officer knew that there was going to be no future of support or anything from Elijah or Daniel. And also the same police at that time told me to focus on other family members that seemed like they wanted to do something with their life. One of those family members he mentioned was Isaiah. Like, what's Isaiah doing right now? Because oftentimes the empathic children and relatives, they're being ignored while you're over here worrying about the Elijahs and Daniels. And that's what I did. I focused on Isaiah as well. You know, you heard me call Isaiah on this video, making sure that even when I'm doing a video about Daniel or Elijah's behavior, I'm always at the forefront of my mind concerned about Isaiah as well. Because not every family member is going to screw you over, hopefully. If you get lucky, hopefully you'll have a few family members that will do right by you and want to do something with the teachings you taught them. Okay? Fair use, Sean.
Understand that concept. Look at it that way. And that is what will start to free you from
Hold on,
it.
let me see.
Look at it. It started off so brilliantly. They must have loved me and then it went wrong. Put it the other way around. The fact that they treated me so badly must mean that they never loved me in the first place. Understand that concept. Look at it that way. And that is what will start to free you from the narcissist. It will enable you to make great strides forward, because then you will realize what came before wasn't genuine. I didn't need it. I was sold an illusion. And you will dislike the narcissist all the more for that, helping you move forward to eventually eradicating any feelings towards the narcissist. Remember, we don't operate on a part-time basis. When we're interacting with you, you're being manipulated, whether good or bad. People with emotional empathy, they can, of course, do bad things. And I explain more about that in the Logic Bulletin in the Knowledge Vault, Why Am I Behaving Like a Narcissist? But people who have emotional empathy, their empathic traits keep their narcissistic ones in check most of the time. They operate with emotional empathy, which means they don't abuse people regularly or habitually. They don't give silent treatments. They don't physically injure people. They don't spit at them, rape them. They don't give them word salad, circular conversations. They don't cheat with their friends. They don't steal. They don't move in with the blink of an eye. They don't take things that don't belong to them. They don't turn up uninvited. All of the abuses that you were put through, whether you were physically beaten, whether you were sexually molested, whether you were ignored, whether you were swore at, spat at, insulted, whether you had your finances taken, whether you were excluded, isolated, not provided with support, not given help with the children, those and many other things. If those things happened on a frequent, habitual, and repeated basis, that is the behavior of somebody lacking emotional empathy, i.e. a narcissist. And therefore that means that whatever you were shown at the beginning, whether golden period or bronze period, wasn't genuine. Write it down. Write it down several times. Put it next to your mirror. Put it on your nightstand. Put it on your console table. Put it next to your kettle, so that you read this and that you pay attention to it as part of freeing yourself from the grip of the narcissist. The fact that I was abused by this person means they could not have loved me. The fact that I was abused by this person means they could not have cared for me. The fact that I was abused by this person means they were not kind to me. The fact that I was abused by this person means they didn't actually like me. Whatever type of ensnarement it was, romantic, social, work, familial, choose the appropriate words, but it always must come back to this. The fact that they abused me means that whatever came before wasn't genuine. Grasp that, accept it, and apply it, and you will become free of the narcissist. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.
So that's H.G. Tudor, and again, fair use. Hopefully that helped y'all. Please click another like. Let me check the comments here. Again, thank you to Mahela Bernhardt, and thank you to their AI clone _321. Thank you for the messages and chats here from Daniel as well. And I resolved it, y'all. So that's what I am. Always be willing to stand up for yourself. You know, when Daniel came here and said it's not true, I read y'all the messages. Everything I'm telling you is absolutely true. I gave you the evidence you needed. Word. Yes, Isaiah?
Open the door.
Yes, sir. I'm opening the door right now.
Thanks.
You're welcome. No problem, Isaiah. Yeah, so let me put this on a little break time right here while I go open the door for Isaiah. I protect myself with these keys, y'all, because um these keys, I'm not gonna be like Dan Broderick and hurt because someone took the keys from my relative. So Isaiah not having the keys protects me from someone like Elijah and Daniel taking the key from him and coming in on me. Recognize an enemy. Black women are getting unalived by their Black sons left and right. Isaiah, I don't feel any fear that he would ever unalive me. However, with Elijah and Daniel, their nature is much different. You're always in danger of someone that does not love, does not know how to love, and does not love you. So hold on, y'all. Break time. Break time, y'all. Hold on. Hello, I'm back, y'all. Isaiah's home. He just got off work. So I'm very grateful to still have a supportive son that's kind natured to me. So yeah, so Isaiah's home from work, y'all. Let me see if I got any more comments. Again, thank you to their AI clone _321 and to Mahalia Bernhardt. Thank you so much. I appreciate everyone that participates in my channel, even if they're coming in here telling lies. I wasn't lying to you, Daniel is. Not true, mother. He went to church today, y'all. And that's what he does. He doesn't even be honest when he leaves church. I read you the messages. There's nothing I told you that was a lie. I read you the messages. Because this is Narcissist and Text Messaging, The Weekend. That's the name of it, The Weekend. Narcissist and Text Messaging. Remember, I have the playlist. And so this will be whatever part I've done, at least 23, over 20 parts to Narcissist and Text Messaging. If you like, share, and subscribe here, I'm very serious with building my playlist on a subject matter. And again, this is Narcissist and Text Messaging, The Weekend, y'all. The Weekend, y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe, and tune in for more right here with the Advanced Insight channel. And under the Fair Use Act, I'm allowed to speak about these things. I'm telling you the truth always, and I'm giving you ideas to better your situation, to prevent you from being in my situation, and giving you the raw facts and information on these type of situations. And that way you have the knowledge. This is stuff they're not going to tell you at your church, y'all. Go to your church and come here. Go to your masjid and come here. Go to your Buddhist monastery and come here. add both to your life, and you'll be a better person. Do your prayers tonight. I love y'all. Tune in for more right here. I love you as well, Daniel. Get your life together. And if you're going to come in here to my channel, Daniel, learn to be honest, because you came into Mom's channel lying here. The texts are in your text message stream, Daniel, and I'm not lying on you. I don't need to. So please don't come in here, Daniel, fronting me off on my platform and disrespecting me on my platform, because there's no lie that I've told on you. I read it text by text. Hopefully you enjoyed Narcissist and text messaging the weekend, and tune in for more right here. Thank you so much. Again, tune in for more right here with the Advanced Insight channel. I appreciate you tuning in. I learned something myself. Every time I come on here, I'm learning right along with you. I learned from this channel as well, y'all. So Isaiah's home. Thank the Lord that Isaiah made it home. I'll pray for your entire family, and you pray for mine as well. Again, please like, share, and subscribe. If you're going to be a Christian, try to be a better Christian. Try to live the Christian life after church as well. Tune in for more right here with the Advanced Insight channel. Thank you. Bye.